What is good, party people? Welcome back to That's BS with me, Brian. Let's get into it this week. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, as well as turn on the notification bell to stay updated on all my new content. So first things to get out of the way is I'm very upset about the Seahawks loss Sunday Night Football. It was definitely a nail-biter game, per usual for us. It would have been great to go undefeated this season, but I think this is a good L to get. NFC West real strong this year, as they often are. Excited for Arizona that they're like on the way back to some prominence. There's always a tough game for us every year, but I mean, like nationally, they're doing pretty well. Kyler Murray, man, that kid's feet is nuts. But Russell Wilson's paving the way for the short, quick, improvising quarterback. So that's kind of awesome to see his legacy already. Giving other people opportunities and whatnot. But that being said, the L was tough. The 3 interceptions were tough. But I think this was a good thing for us because, A, it shows the growth from DK Metcalf. I mean, that one touchdown he should have had that got punched out against Dallas, that really sucked. But this showed that he has had a complete flip of script to where he chased down Buda Baker, the UW alum, and one of the best safeties in the league. He chased his ass down and got that tackle, which if that touchdown would have occurred, then we wouldn't have even made it to overtime. I mean, there's a lot of things that we shouldn't have gone overtime and got the dub, but I mean, it is what it is. That's the great thing about sports, is anybody can win on any given day and anything can happen. But I think it was a good loss. We learned a lot. Definitely, it's been a weird season seeing, I guess confident is the right word, a little cocky from Russell Wilson this year, which it's good to be confident, but I feel like this was a bit of a humbling moment in this MVP pursuit. I know we're not even halfway through the season, but still, he's been in the conversation since the jump. So it's exciting to see all this love that we're getting here in Seattle, because usually we're like the team that everybody wants to hate and things like that. But did suck to have that interception on like the goal line. And with Chris Collinsworth, I cannot stand that person. And he always has to announce our games. And we're always primetime though, so he's always going to announce the games, or commentate. But man, I knew it. The second that happened, I was like, great. And my social media feed blew up. And I didn't even have to think it into existence like I was talking about last week. It just, of course, was going to happen on, Bleacher Report, ESPN, NFL, Sports Center, any sport outfit, you name it. Of course, they're going to talk about it. Oh, you remember the Super Bowl? But they always bring that shit up. And then now they have another reason to keep it going. So that really sucked. But all in all, I think it was a good loss, if you can even say that. I just think that it was a humbling moment for our team and a time for us to grow. I'd rather get the L now and then have us, build momentum again throughout the rest of the season. Maybe catch an L or two. Hopefully we can go unbeaten the rest of the season. That would be great, But I think that there was a lot to learn, and I think we're going to grow from this. And man, Tyler Lockett, holy cow. I love it. Some games he's just silent because he's doing his job. He's getting his blocks. He's running his routes, doing all the right things. But then he really got what he deserves this last game, 3 tugs. Like, I think it was 200 receiving yards or something close to that. A ridiculous amount of receptions. He had like 8 receptions in the first half. So that was crazy. I know he had double digits. I don't know the exact number. I'm not trying to be super accurate with that. I just know that he went off. The 3 touchdowns was incredible. And the catches he made, I mean, that first catch was insane. All of his touchdowns were clutch, but then the one where he drug his foot in and they tried to say it was incomplete, and then they challenged, I think it was, I don't know if it was a referee challenge or it was a Seahawks challenge, but regardless, they got the right call because, wow, that was some amazing footwork. So hats off to you, Tyler. You're always killing it. Yeah, you deserve way more credit in the conversation of best wide receivers in the league. I know DK's been getting a ton of love this year nationally, which is great. I think he's phenomenal. He's an absolute freaking beast and specimen of a human being. Like, what are you, 6'3"? And he's run the second fastest in the league this year. Him, why can't I remember his name? homeboy Tyreek Hill, there we go, from the Chiefs, and then Mostert. I think I said his name right. I don't know. I hate the Niners, but he plays on the Niners, and that dude's fast as fuck. But anyways, that is awesome. That guy's gonna be like the next Megatron. I'm hoping. They keep talking about this dude in Pittsburgh being the next Megatron, but I mean, look at what DK. I mean, that dude's killing it for the Rook, but Claypool. But DK, man, you're absolutely tearing it up, and you're kind of like a Russell Wilson story, you know. Everybody doubted you, and you went to us in the second round, which was like, I was so hyped about that, which is super duper cool. So I'm excited to see how we do the rest of the season. I think we're doing well. LJ Collier's, you know, been pretty active. Poona Ford killing it. It's just been great. And KJ Wright's having the hell of a season. I mean, Bobby goes without saying, you know, always tearing it up, and so does KJ, but KJ's having a real good season, so that's awesome to see. But yeah, really excited about the team. I'm really excited for us to get Jamal Adams back. I mean, he's played 2-3 games with us before he had that groin injury, so once he's back, I mean, that first game that we played, he was an absolute tear and was all over the field. He was disgusting. He was like the Tasmanian devil from Looney Tunes. He was just everywhere causing a mess. So really excited for the future of the Seahawks. Enough about the sports for this podcast, at least. Huge passion of mine. I'm excited about that. It's Tuesday night, the 27th, when I'm filming this, and the Dodgers, I think, just clinched the World Series. So congrats to you Dodgers fans out there. I'm a diehard Mariner guy. So, yeah, the World Series has always eluded us. But hey, we had King Griffey Jr. and we have the most winning season, so come at me with that, bruh. So, subscriber goal I set last week was 70. Unfortunately, we didn't hit the goal, but hey, got 1 subscriber, so that's awesome. Any growth is great growth, like I was saying before. So, shout-outs to you, number 63. I appreciate it. Means a lot to me, getting closer and closer to my end of the year goal, which I'm excited to hopefully achieve that. But you know, it's all right. I didn't eat a crazy spicy chip or do anything super exciting, which I saw my last huge, and by huge I mean like it was like 10 subscribers, but that's still a lot for me right now in my infancy of this channel. Seeing record, I guess, growth for me. I didn't do anything exciting, so that makes sense. But on an exciting note, I think I told you guys last week, I ordered all of the season 11 of the Hot Ones sauces, and they all came in yesterday. So I've got the lineup. I was thinking about doing a video of where I'm just like going through the hot sauces and kind of like explaining them and talking about the Scoville units or something like that. I don't know if that'd be interesting, but I feel like I don't see that, or I haven't seen that on YouTube. I know the Hot Ones thing is real popular, and it is a goal of mine. I'm going to put this out in the universe. Goal of mine, it's December 27th, 2020 at 9:32 p.m. Someday, Sean Evans will invite me onto Hot Ones, and I'll go and demolish it, and I'll do something crazy with the last stab, because I've done it before, and I think I can handle my heat, and I'm going to do it. And this was the precursor thing, but that's my goal. Sean Evans, if you ever see this, bring me on there. That'd be cool. I'm a nobody right now, but maybe I could be somebody. Maybe. But, I got all the sauces and I posted a picture on my Instagram and I was all excited. I lined them up all cutesy and stuff like that. But then Mercedes was like, I'll do it with you. And I was blown away because she always talks shit about how much I eat spicy food. Because when we go get pho, I just like drench it in sriracha and plum sauce. And I do it, you know, all the jalapenos, the basil, all that fun. Oh man, I just love pho. Shout outs to Vian Dong in Tacoma on 36th or 38th Street. That is the best pho in Washington, in my opinion. I haven't had all the pho in Washington, but their broth is the best. And any true pho connoisseur will tell you that the broth is where it's at. But anywho, I guess I'm claiming to be a pho connoisseur. I do really like it. It's so delicious, but their broth is the best. So if you don't take my word for it, go try it. It's on 38th Street in Tacoma. But anyways, she always bullies me for how much hot sauce I eat and says you're going to get an ulcer, blah, 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 all this stuff, which she's not wrong, but I love spicy food. My mom's side of the family's from the South, and I just grew up with a grandfather that would just eat fire, and so I always wanted to be like him as a little kid, so I'd always eat hot sauce, and then now it's just kind of a staple for me, I guess. I really enjoy hot food, hot sauce, and definitely wings, especially having done keto in the past and lost a ton of weight. The majority of my diet was literally Buffalo Wild Wings, Buffalo Dry Rub, and spicy garlic, I think, because they're very low carb in the sauce. But anyways, got the hot sauces. I'm really excited about it. She said she's going to do it with me, so I think we're going to do it this weekend. I'm going to film it, and then kind of like I did the chip, just kind of all of it. I'm not going to really edit it unless there's parts where it's like lulls or whatever, then I'll cut that out. But anything that we're like reacting to the sauce or just having fun banter, because that's what we do, that'll be included in the video. So I think we're going to have our first guest on the podcast as the wife. She said she wanted me to be more successful and before she came on here, but I think she's proud of me putting in the work and things like that. So she's willing to not only support me from the sidelines, but come out in the field and play. So real excited about that. I'm going to throw them on that. And I think I've talked about this before, and I'm sure I have. I'm going to throw the wings on the Traeger. Have a great recipe. The Traeger app is where it's at. So just going to cook up some wings and then do the sauces, line them up, and then we'll both write down some really funny questions so we can ask each other. I told her she'll probably enjoy it for the first 5 sauces because they're like, they get progressively hotter, but they're enjoyable. And then what I remember from my last experience with the sauce is once you hit the 6th sauce, it just like, you're like, first sauce, second sauce, third sauce, fourth sauce, fifth sauce, sixth is just a huge increase in heat. So we'll see how she does. When we first started dating, she didn't eat any hot sauce. And now she like loves sriracha and putting hot sauce on stuff. And I made some burgers the other day and I put some red pepper flake in it. And she was like, oh, I really like the spice in this one. So she's definitely getting better with the hot sauce. So we'll see how she does with these wings. But I wonder if she'll make it to the bomb, because if not, the bomb will break her for sure. So that's the immediate update on the hot sauce, hot ones wing challenge, I guess. I don't know if it's a challenge, but that's the update on that one. And then I'm going to do it with a group of my buddies, which I've kind of been forecasting. I've got a good list of them, I think. Let's see how many said that they're in. I've coursed a couple of them, and they know it's going to be put on the internet. Some of them bitched out because they didn't want to look like a wimp on the internet, I guess. I don't know. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, excluding myself, in on doing the season 13 hot ones at my house. So I think I'm going to set them up outside and then, I'm figuring out the setup, but we got 9 folks and myself, so 10 doing work on these wings. And maybe I'll get Mercedes, I'll convince her to kind of host it and ask the questions or whatever, or I'll figure out some fun way, or we can do teams of 3 between them. I'll split up my friends into groups of 3, and then I'll do it by myself, and then we'll see about a point system. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing something fun, some games, some hilarious stuff. And then, if you decide not to answer a question or something like that, you have to do, a hot sauce related, like challenge to get out of it. Kind of like the one they do on Hot Ones where they, they ask them spicy questions, and then if they don't answer it, they got to eat the last dab wing or something like that. Maybe I'll just do it to where if you don't answer the question, you got to do more of that hot sauce onto that wing or whatever. We'll figure it out. I got some time, but I think it's going to be sometime in November. But next week, I'm for sure doing it with myself and my lovely wife. So stay tuned for that. So I wanted to get into some topics this week that are a little bit more near and dear to me, not necessarily comical stuff or stuff that I think is funny, but something that is really on the front of my mind quite often, especially during everything going on with COVID and just, it being an election year and it just being a weird year. 2020 has definitely put us all through the ringer, but hey, hopefully things will start turning around for the better and we're all getting through it together. So just keep that positive mindset locked in. But the thing I really wanted to talk about today is something that's, I don't know if haunted me my whole life is a good way of putting it, but it's definitely something that I think about often, that I feel like has held me back in more than one instance in my life. And that's the idea of me getting in my own way. I don't know if that's something that's relatable to you. I talk about it often. One of my best buddies growing up with, Jordan, he and I talk about this kind of stuff all the time. And I think I've mentioned it before. He and I were in a paddle boat once, hanging out with some buddies at a cabin, and we were just talking about like all the things that stress us out in life. And we were both I think we were both unmarried at the time. And we were both going through trying to buy houses and all this stuff, and just coming into our adult life and getting our stride. And we were just like, hey, isn't it funny that 6 months from now we're going to have completely different stresses? So why are we, clinching or worried so much about everything today? We need to enjoy ourselves. And I feel like that comes big time into play with getting in your own way. I feel like I get in my head so much, and I always refer back to that conversation to kind of give myself like a gut check, like, hey, how are we doing? Do we really need to get this worked up over stuff? Because I get so tense, and I really drive it home on certain things. Like as a kid, I really did it in sports. Like if I didn't excel during practice or during a game, I may not wear it on the outside, but on the inside, I'm thinking about that. And one of the things that my dad taught me is whenever I made an error in baseball, just grab a handful of dirt, throw it on the ground, and then fresh play. Or every time you get in the shower after a game, you wipe off all the mistakes you made. Don't forget them, but don't dwell on them, kind of thing. And I feel that that's carried over into my adult life, where I'm trying to find new ways to kind of not dwell on those things and not hold myself back, because that's really what it boils down to me. Is I get in my own head to where either I make a mistake or I have this fear of failure, which with my personality isn't a common feeling for me, but I definitely fall into the same, traps and pitfalls within my own psyche, to where I tell myself that I can't do something, and I feel that I am my own worst critic, but at the same time, I'm the one that's really holding me back. And I think, every day for my wife, Mercedes, for constantly pulling me out of those areas. She believes in me so much, and she is my biggest support by any means. If I'm ever down on myself, she pulls me right back up and then checks me and tells me, if anybody's going to make you feel bad, it's going to be me, not you. So I love her to death. She is the best. She always makes me feel grounded and makes me feel loved, appreciated, and motivated, for sure. I've said it before, I'd probably be living in my mom's basement if it wasn't for her. And her constant motivation and love and support that she gives me on a daily basis. I wouldn't be doing this without her. I mean, I've had some other friends that have supported me and told me, hey, push through, do this. I think you can do it. But having her in my corner every day has definitely pushed me to new heights and potential for my own self. But essentially what I mean by like getting in my own way is there's so many opportunities and just availability, which I guess is the same thing as opportunities. But right now in the current world, there's so much untapped potential, not only within yourself, but within the world. I remember being a kid and just seeing how, if you wanted to be a pop star, you had to do Mickey Mouse Club like Justin Timberlake, and then you could join a band like NSYNC. Or if you wanted to be a professional athlete, you had to be really good your entire life. If you wanted to, fill in the blank, you had to do X, Y, Z. But the sports thing was really big for me as a kid, and I was never fast. I could hit or I could defend. Like growing up, I was either really good defensively and I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat, or I could hit the piss off the ball and I couldn't defend. But then I kind of put it together in high school, but I wasn't good enough to get to the next level. So then after that, I was just kind of like, what do I do? And then every time an opportunity came up for myself, I would just go, oh, this is why I can't do it, or this is why this person is more apt to achieve these goals, whereas I can't, or, oh, that makes sense why they're successful and I'm here, or, if I don't try hard at this, then I won't fail at it, which is a really bad way to kind of like program yourself. It's kind of cliche, but it is so true when people say, you can't love somebody else until you love yourself. I feel like that really is the foundation for not just love, but anything rewarding or even scary in life, is that you can't, no one will believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. No one will love you if you don't love yourself. No one will think that you can, which I guess is believing. I keep being a little redundant, but it's kind of hard when this is a really deep concept for me, and not having someone like Mercedes or a guest on here, which clearly I need to get to kind of be as a soundboard for this. It's kind of hard trying to be as authentic as I can. I don't like write anything, like I write like little bullet points of stuff to go over, but I'm just trying to be as authentic as I can. But I do get redundant sometimes, so I apologize for that. But if you don't truly wholeheartedly believe in yourself, then what makes you think that other people should? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you need to be braggadocious or cocky or whatever. Confidence comes in all shapes and sizes. But I think that there's a lot of steps to take that will get you into that right mindset, which I think is a great first step. Like for me and myself, in college, I took I did not think I was going to go down this route, but I think this is a really good point. And the story that I'm about to tell is something that drastically changed my life forever. Just 2 statements, and hopefully it resonates with you. But essentially in college, and I think I've mentioned it before, I was a communication and leadership major in college. And the best decision I made in just my own personal growth, not because of like mentors and things like that, but just like a decision I made was to go into the leadership program, which one of my mentors in my life is one of my best friends, John Nielsen. He really motivated me and told me to go down that path. And once I did, I'd never looked back. It was something that drastically changed my life. And in the leadership program, not only do you learn about different leadership principles, which we really focused on servant-led leadership, which has been something I've practiced my entire life, but I didn't know what a name was for it. And then I learned how to, by no means do I think I'm perfect, but I learned how to perfect it to an extent to where now it's something that I unconsciously do on a daily basis. But at the same time, through that leadership program, I did this class that was a servant-led leadership class, to where we took, it was either a weekend or a week, I can't remember, where we went up into the mountains and stayed at a like Zen monastery, and we only ate vegan food, and we meditated multiple times a day for extended periods of time. And we did a bunch of leadership activities. I mean, we did some of like the corny trust fall stuff, but we got really, really deep. And we really got to know each other in this class. And we did, like, I know some things about these people that I don't know about some of the people I've known closest to me in my entire life. Like, you really get into the weeds of not only people's minds, their hearts, and truly their soul on this trip. And I've always had really bad knees my entire life. The reason I'm telling you this is because it'll make sense in the story. But I've always had really bad knees, and I tore what's basically like tearing your ACL and MCL in your knee. But I didn't actually have a tear like that. It's called an osseous, which is a calcium deposit that forms into a bone, and it attached to my tibia, fibia, and my kneecap, and it's ripped off of those bones 3 times. And it's basically the same thing as tearing your ACL and MCL. You have the same rehab and whatever, you just don't have to have surgery. I asked the doctor I was going to, and he said, you could remove it if you want to, but it's just, you're going to have 12 months of rehab instead of the normal 6, and it may or may not do anything, and it may or may not come back. So I think I just have a random bone orbiting in my knee. But anyways, the reason I brought that up is because we were meditating, and you could either sit a certain way on the ground. I don't know if anybody out there is an experienced meditator. I used to be all about it, and I need to get back into it, which I'll go into in a little bit. But they had these like little benches to where you could sit your butt on it, kind of like a stool that I'm sitting on now. But it was very low to the ground, and then you'd tuck your knees underneath it, and then your knees would kind of be resting on the ground, and you'd be sitting in a certain situation, focusing on your breathing, all that jazz. And after every time we would meditate as a group, I would get off of this stool, and I'd like collapse over to the side. And then I've always been a smart ass, so everyone in my class would like laugh and whatnot, and a little bit was me trying to get attention, but at the same time, it was pretty serious that I was experiencing like that pain or discomfort. And it got so bad that at the end of it, when we were doing kind of like a reflection on our session, I said, hey, is it normal that I don't feel my legs? And without skipping a beat, the kind of like Zen guru guy that was leading all these meditations with us said, there's a difference between pain and suffering. We all experience pain. It's your choice to suffer or not. And when he said that to me, like everybody in the room heard it, but that hit me like a tidal wave. And that absolutely changed my entire perspective on my life. 100%. Like that one statement rocked my world. And I think about that every single day. And then after that meditation, I went up to him and I said, hey, do you mind if I sit with you and have lunch today? I want to, kind of pick your brain about some stuff. And so he, fortunate for me, he accepted. And so we had lunch together. We talked. But the next big thing that I took away from it was another simple statement, which was, I was talking about similar things about just like pain and experiences in your life and how do you process these things while at the same time staying kind of like centered with yourself and doing, this, that, and the other. And he said, it's all about discipline. It's all about discipline. It's like having an itch. Do you have the discipline not to scratch it? It's like having a fly land on you. Do you have the discipline to just let it be? Because that's just how life is. So many things that are, irritations can be like that itch or that fly that lands on you, but we focus so much of our attention to get those things and we make them the problem. Does that make sense? Like if you have an itch on you, usually it goes away, but we focus so much, and then when you start itching it, you get a rash, or you cut the skin, or you do something like that. There's something that's so small and so minute, but we focus all of our energy immediately on that for that gratification, and then sure enough, it makes it exponentially worse. I know that, scratching yourself and like to bleed or scratching yourself to get a rash is not an exponential issue, but think about that. And those two things, there's a difference between pain and suffering. We all experience pain. It's your choice to suffer or not, or that you have the discipline not to scratch an itch kind of thing. Just absolutely blew my mind. And then after that, going into every single day, I thought about those things, and I used to meditate, and I really got out of my own way. I just let life flow into me and like through me and out of me and all these things, and quit worrying so much about impressing other people or doing things for other people or to get the response I want. I just did me. And then I felt like I was at the most enlightened point in my life, and that was my sophomore year in college. Like I always joke around, and when I talk about this experience with like friends or just in conversation when people talk about meditation or whatever, and yeah, I get this deep, but whenever I talk about it, I always say like I was at such a great point in my life that you could literally come spit in my face and I'd be like, who hurt you? Instead of, reacting negatively like how anyone would normally, but for some reason I was just in such a state to where nothing could faze me. I was so in tune with myself, and all my relationships were great. My school was going great. Relationships with the women in my life were great. During that time, I'm not saying that I was like some sort of womanizer or whatever, but everything was just working. And I feel like that is the true meaning of getting out of your own way, is getting out of your own head. At least it is for me. And so I think one of the things I need to get back to is meditation, because it helps with that, mental aspect. Hopefully you're still following hopefully you're still following me with this. I know I got like super meta and whatever, but I think that, clearing your mind and having a good understanding of who you are, what your faults are, having something that is super profound to you, like those two statements were to me, is kind of like a good way to check in on yourself, like I did with my buddy, hey, in 6 months we're going to have completely different problems. Just kind of like recentering yourself and letting you know kind of what's going on. The next thing I think is really important is your own physical and emotional health, just health in general, whatever that looks like to you. For me, I've been doing this keto thing. I've been losing a lot of weight. I'm down 11 pounds now, which is super awesome. I'm going to continue to move forward with that progression to get to my goal weight, to where I'm not only physically healthy, but I'm like emotionally healthy. A lot of it has to do with my own confidence. There's been times in my life when I've been in really good shape, and there's been times in my life when I've been extremely out of shape like I am right now. The times when I'm in good shape, I just have this confidence and way about me to where it's just unconscious. And I think that's what really getting out of your own way is when things just become fundamental and unconscious. So taking care of that. Also, another thing is doing a lot of visualization exercises. Like when I was doing all that meditation, which meditation really helps you visualize. In my opinion, first you got to get, if you've ever meditated before, when you first start, it's like such a hard concept to wrap your mind around because you're literally thinking about nothing. Which the thought of thinking about nothing makes you think about stuff. It's like a really backwards way, but then once you figure it out, it's just so relieving. And I talk to myself all the time about, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and I never do it. If you put things off until tomorrow, tomorrow may never come. So you got to attack today, which kind of makes me super happy about my wife and super thankful is because she is so very much in the moment person, whereas I'm always thinking like 5, 10, 15, 20, 1,000 years ahead. She definitely grounds me in a lot of ways, and she has a lot of forward-looking goals and things like that, but she definitely enjoys now, whereas I stress about now so that we don't have to stress later, which she just tries to make me go, hey, you got to balance the two. So with that kind of like also being positive and forward looking, I've always talked about, and I had in college, a vision board. I think I was talking about that a second ago and I derailed, but again, bear with me. I don't have someone to kind of like keep me in the bowling lanes right now. And also this is something that is, I think about on a daily basis, so I could ramble and go off the rails even more than usual. But a vision board is really important because it's one thing to believe in yourself, talk these things to existence, put it out there into the universe, and then see about the seeds that you sow for yourself, but also visualizing it and seeing it every single day. I know that whenever I wanted something, for example, when I was a freshman in high school, I was really worried about making the baseball team. So I wrote a bunch of like quotes or things or ways to get myself and my mind right during tryouts, and I put them on my nightstand. I put it on my mirror in the bathroom. I put it in my wallet, like in a little list. And then I think I put it in my mom's car or something. I don't know. So I was seeing it like 4 or 5 times every single day in the morning through my process. And then I would read through those things, and then they just became muscle memory to me. It's like, okay, get out of your own way was probably one of them. Make sure you get your butt down, fielding ground balls, keep your hands in, short, compact swing, all these different things just so I could get my mind focused. And I made the team, which was awesome. But it's just like we get so worried and wrapped up in all the things that we want, but you got to ground yourself and be like, these are the things I want, and this is how I'm going to get them. So that's why I'm doing a vision board again, which I just bought at Home Depot. Sorry, I can't reach it. One sec. I bought this like big ass whiteboard. And I'm gonna put some stuff on there. I've already printed some stuff out and cut it out. I gotta tape it on there, and then write some things. But I just like to, I keep them in my head and I write them in my phone, but now I need to start doing a visualization in more of my spaces, if that makes sense. Because it's like with work, you write a sticky note down, like, gotta call Sharon, and then you see it and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna call Sharon. This is like, do your podcast. For me, like actual goals that I've written down before is buy your first home, remodel it and sell it. I did that. I bought my first home. Mercedes and I remodeled it. We sold it. And now we're living in this house, which is potentially our forever home. The things that I have on there right now are not all materialistic things. Like a lot of them are achieving my end of the year goal for views and subscribership for this channel. To get a silver, I think it's silver, gold, and then diamond are the YouTube awards. So I think silver is 100,000 subscribers. That's gonna be on there. To hit 1 million subscribers. To one of the things that I have a picture on there is a picture of. I'll just show you. I don't know if you can see this, but it's okay. It looks like you can. The mic stand with. Like a sold out stadium crowd in there. Like my goal is to ultimately to be a professional stand-up comedian, and I'm holding myself back and getting in my own way because I have been writing a lot of material, and the local comedy club is open back up again, but I haven't gone. So I'm getting in my own way. So now I'm writing these things down so that I can acknowledge them, see that I'm the one holding me back, nobody else is, and then taking up on those opportunities. Because to circle back to what I was saying before at the beginning of this rant, there's so many opportunities available for us. And it doesn't have to be just one thing. You can figure it out. Like I'm figuring it out with this thing. A lot of you are riding through this with me, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot. But it's like YouTube is an outlet. Music right now is crazy. Like all these people are blowing up. Like that guy Kid Leroy came from Australia. He made some great songs. He did that, Addison Rae song that became a huge TikTok dance or whatever, and then turned into a song. And then he did a bunch of stuff with Juice WRLD, and now he's huge and he's doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And the kid's like 16. It's crazy how you can you can either choose to do nothing. You can be an overnight success, or you can continue to put in the work to just become your own successful path. And that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to figure out life, and I think that's what this really boils down to. And I think that, again, I've been kind of ranting about this stuff, but it's really important to me to just know yourself, know your goals, know how you're going to get there. I think I found the vehicle. Now I just need to put the keys in and drive. So thank you for bearing with me on this, holy cow, 22-minute rant about this. Hopefully you got something out of it. I really think that it is important to not just often, but daily to check in with yourself. It's not a bad thing. If you have someone that you're really close to that you can confide in, check in with them if it makes you feel more normal, I guess. But for me, I really do a lot of self-development with my own thoughts, and obviously Mercedes knows everything about me, but I do a lot of self-development internally, and I do a lot of thinking and processing, and then I will bounce stuff off of Mercedes. But that's enough of getting out of my own way. There's a couple more things I want to talk about really quick, and then we'll wrap this up. But I think that was kind of valuable. I think it's something different that I brought to the table this time. But yeah, next time you run into a situation to where you're really down on yourself, just remember there's a difference between pain and suffering. We all experience pain. It's your choice to suffer or not. And really think about that. It really helped me get to a whole new place in my own life when I was in a really bad one. Let me know if you liked that kind of introspective version of the conversation. Definitely give me recommendations if you like that. Great. I obviously want to have those kind of conversations with some other with guests, to kind of get their perspective on things or what they do in those kind of situations when life throws you a curveball, or you feel like you're headed down the wrong path, or you just keep running your head against the wall, kind of thing. What you do to kind of change up your gears to get going in a different direction. But after thinking about this, I was in the car with Mercedes the other day, and I started thinking about my legacy and what I leave behind. And that's why I really want to get out of my own ways, so that when people remember me, and it's not so much that I want a ton of people to necessarily remember me. That would be great if I made a positive impact on people's lives. I've talked about that before, how I ultimately want to have this channel become my my job, to where this is where I make money, this is my career, and then I can give back to all the communities that help me get to where I am, and all the people that need it most, and looking out for those that are less fortunate than my wife and I, and things of that nature. But I really think about my legacy with my wife. And if you're in a relationship, or you're married, or you're thinking about getting married and whatnot, there's definitely times, I'm sure, when you've made mistakes, they've made mistakes, you both collectively made a mistake, things like that. And sometimes I think about that, and I kind of got teary-eyed. I'm very emotional. If you know me in real life, I'm an extremely emotional person, very sensitive. But I was kind of got a little bit emotional because the conversation was going in a certain direction. I was saying to Mercedes, I really hope that, if I were to go before you, that not the legacy necessarily, but your remembrance of me is a good one, and that the things that the time we had together is something that you're proud of, you're happy with, and that you feel like I enriched your life and things like that. And then it just went down like some weird path. But I think about that all the time. I don't know if you guys do, but I often think about my legacy and the people that matter to me most, like what I leave with them. Not financially or anything like that, but just kind of like emotional. Like when I lost my best friend Willis, I think about him every single day. And what he left with me is I took a lot of his personality and put it into mine, like my lack of fear to meet new people or to go out of my way to try to be a nice guy, or just my charisma, I guess, is a lot from him. If you knew him, then you knew he was like the most loved person ever. I've never met someone who didn't like him or think he was literally the most incredible person ever. But I think about that all the time, and I think about his legacy and how he left behind such an imprint on my life that I think about him every single day. And how to be more like him. I'm not a religious person, but I pray to him often. Like I had a friend text me while I was filming this about some stuff that she's going through health-wise, and the thing I said was like, hey, I'm gonna pray for you to Willis and just have him look out for you, because anytime I run into a situation or an impasse in my own life, I reach out to him, and then it makes me think about, like, I need to be more patient. This kind of gets me back onto the track of the legacy thing, because I think how we got on this conversation, Mercedes thought I was going to lose my patience with her or something, and I didn't. And then it made me go like, man, in these moments when you get in a spat with your significant other, or you have a moment of weakness, or you respond like super quick and it's a negative one, it's so easy to go that way, and the easy things in life are never worth it. And I know that's another cliche. I find myself falling into the cliche traps quite often, but those easy paths are definitely not the rewarding ones. And sometimes it goes back to, like I was saying before, now it comes full circle. Oh wait, full circle is the, we all experience pain. Is it your choice to suffer or not? When you suffer in those moments of where it's an annoyance or frustration or it upsets you or whatnot, because it's like, do they really matter, or do they matter in this exact moment, small glimpse of time? There's so much time we have left, hopefully, and so much time that we've already been existing. So is it really worth all the negative effort when you could just collect your thoughts and respond differently? You can only control what you can control. And so that's what I think about my legacy. I can only control what I can control, so I need to take more control, of my gas situation, but I need to take more control of my life, and get out of my own way, and also be more actualized in how I live my life. But enough of me doing this deep thought, whatever thing. Hopefully you like this. If not, please let me know. I will not be offended. But I just think it's important to check in. If this is something you can relate to, great. Please don't feel like you're alone. If you ever want to talk to me more about this stuff, you can reach out to me on here or on Instagram. I've plugged it several times. But yeah, you're never alone. And just remember that, in order to be successful, you have to be your biggest fan too. So just love yourself, and that'll help you love others and be a good person, and just don't be a dick. And then take a second, and it's not bad to pause before you make a decision, because I would rather, and I found myself doing this before. Okay, I promise this is the last thing I'm saying about stuff like this for tonight, is sometimes it's okay when someone asks you a question and you get that immediate emotional response, pause and let yourself feel it, and then respond accordingly. If you respond emotionally to everything, your emotions will take control of you. And there's a completely other thing that I learned also in leadership in college, about how your consciousness and your emotions are like a house, and you own those rooms, and you can choose whether to rent them to people or not. And I'll get into that next week. Not because we're going to eat those spicy wings, but I'll get into that in the future. I think this is something I want to go into further. Hopefully you guys like it, because it's stuff that's important to me, and I feel like it's an important way to kind of center yourself, especially when we're going through all this wild stuff right now. But thank you again for listening to this rant. If you did the whole way, hopefully you got something valuable out of it, and I would love to have a conversation about this kind of stuff. But to kind of go into a different topic that's a little bit more I don't think the stuff I was talking about is depressing, but just like a little bit different, more back on track of the stuff we talk about. That's kind of funny. So in this legacy conversation, Mercedes and I were talking about having kids, and we've been talking about having kids a ton. But the thing that's kind of nervous about it, and I feel like with my friend group, we are all starting to be like one of my best buddies just got engaged yesterday, and a lot of my friends are married. Like the best man at my wedding got married at the end of August. So we're all starting to like really plant our family roots or like figure our adult lives out, I guess. We're all steadily approaching 30 or 30. So we're figuring it out. And Mercedes and I have been talking a ton about having kids, and we want to have kids, and we're excited about it. But then with everything going on in the pandemic, the last thing that she wants to do is be pregnant during this. Not saying that it hasn't worked for a lot of folks and people have had a good experience and been healthy. That is awesome. But whatever we can do to make her feel as comfortable and as healthy as possible is kind of what we're going for. And obviously it's not my decision. She's a woman. It's her body. It's her decision. Let that be known. So, but we definitely talk about it a lot. And we also really want to travel. It's not that, a kid's going to prevent us from traveling, but we want to do a lot of international travel. We want to travel in the United States. We wanted to go to Japan. We want to go to her hometown of Barranquilla, Colombia. We want to do a lot of things. We have a lot of boxes to check, I guess, before we were going to do the kids thing, but we're getting close to 30. She turns 28 in January. I turned 28 last June. So we're getting up there when we're at the time of when we want to have kids. Let's just say that. So, but there's so many things going on, so many balls to juggle. We're trying to figure it out. But the reason why I bring this up is because I wrote it down. She said the funniest shit. I was excited about because she's super into TikTok, which we've talked about before, and she saw some mom or whatever doing a TikTok with her kid, and the kid was being all cute and whatever, and I was like, man, I'm so excited for some of these first exciting moments, like when our kid's little and they say a bunch of funny stuff, or they do great in sports, or they find something they love, or they're passionate, or boom, 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 like all these things. Being a dad is my dream job, honestly. So I'm really excited about all that stuff. And then she goes, having kids is going to be fun. The first thing Mercedes thought of, okay, the first thing that she thought of about having kids that'll be fun, I shit you not, these are the words out of her mouth. I'll make her talk about it next week when she comes on here. She said, oh, I'm just so excited for our kid's first heartbreak. And I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? The thing you're most excited for is our child being devastated by their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever partner they choose, kind of thing. You're excited to see them be devastated. She's like, oh yeah, because then I can live out all those movie fantasies of us getting back at that kid or whatever, doing this, that, and the other. And I said, oh my gosh, you are such a ridiculous person. Like I was saying, I was excited for the first steps, for the first funny things that they say, them calling me dad for the first time, all this other shit. And her excitement is, how can I be a petty parent? Or I don't know if you've seen the meme, or I don't know if it's a TikTok, whatever, but of the little girl whose birthday is, she goes to blow the candles and her sister goes over and blows it, and then she grabs her hair and she's like, rah, like wrecking her. Mercedes can't wait for that situation to happen so that she can go beat that little kid's ass or beat up the parents. Like she's all about the drama. She's like, you don't want this smoke. So I thought that was just really, really funny. That she's always talking about that, or she says that she's going to bully our kids so that they'll be cool, or she wants to be the hot mom. She's just like, she's hilarious. She has so many great ideas for things in the future, which I won't spoil. But I'm sure that they'll come up in the future with our plan for kids and things like that. But she is just hilarious. And she is 100% serious about all of those things, which is one of the reasons why I just love her so much, is because she is probably the funniest person I know, unintentionally, because she is so petty. It's hilarious. She never forgets anything. Like if you say something mean to me, I'll like brush it off. It doesn't matter to me. I go amongst my day. She will never forget that. And then if something comes up where you're like, oh, hey, Brian, can you do me a favor? She'll be like, hey, you remember that one time when you said that one thing to Brian and it was really rude? What do you need help with now? And then it just like puts people in their place. Like You don't want to get in Mercedes' bad side. She's like a tiny little Colombian demon, but I love her to death and I wouldn't change anything about her. But this has been kind of a weird podcast. I know I've kind of bounced around on a couple topics. I talked about the Seahawks. I talked about the weight loss is going well. I think I said I'm down 11 pounds, which is great. Get your mind right. Get out of your own way. The world is your oyster. Go shuck it. Definitely put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to take risks. Get up every day motivated. I know it's hard, especially right now, but at least do something. Something small every day is better than doing nothing or waiting for tomorrow to come so you can make a change. Change starts when you want to make it, and nobody else will make you do anything except for yourself. At the end of the day, you're the one that looks at yourself back in the mirror. So just keep that perspective. Enough cliches for the night. Would love to talk about this more. Stay tuned for the next one, for the wings that my wife and I are going to demolish, and then the one with my group of buddies, and let's see who can handle the heat. But thanks again for tuning in. Subscriber goal for next week, let's just be excited about 65. So that's 2 more subscribers. I'd really appreciate it. Show the love. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Again, feedback. I really appreciate it. A shout out to the people that in the comments responding to me, giving me not only feedback, but answering some questions I put up there, like about the Pokemon card grading and stuff like that. I do appreciate it. I read all 7 of them, but this has been awesome. Thanks for tuning in with me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe. This is what my dad always said to me as a kid. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I forgot what the other one was. I'm sure he'll tell me. All right, peace out, everybody. Miss you already.